all the way to the right.
Welcome to the Edge Morning Show.
With Chris Knight, Eric Johnson, Fox 2's Faust, and Tabitha Hassell.
The Edge
Okay. It's on 30.
Morning. There we are. Hey, everybody. Now I think we're here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Tabitha was thrown into the fire. She's doing a terrific job. All right. Next 2 hours, we're going to get things rocking and rolling. And coming up at 9, and I repeat, coming up at 9 o'clock, you won't want to miss it. We're going to have a very in-depth conversation, a heart-to-heart, with the doc we've had on the show a few times. He joined us again recently. We hadn't had him on for a while, but we're talking about Dr. David Tannehill with Mercy. He's an ICU doc. He's coming on to talk about what the vaccine does and doesn't do, what he's actually seen in the ICU, because he just recently put a lot of information out on Facebook. And the fact that Dr. David Tannehill is willing to talk about what is actually real and what isn't, and buck the trend in some ways from some things that you hear, is outstanding. So I can't wait to get Dr. David Tannehill on at 9 o'clock. We may get the Bomberito guys on to talk about the race that's coming up in just a couple of weeks here. A huge race in the St. Louis area. We'll keep that posted. And, of course, we always take your phone calls as well. The phone number is 636-695-2915, 636-695-2915. Of course, we'll take your comments on Facebook as well, 100.7 The Viper. We love it when you share the show, too. And, of course, you can share that show on YouTube as well, The Morning Edge. So we've got that going. Yeah, they were telling us, please start again. Can't read lips. Yeah, I think we're rocking and rolling now. Tabitha, great job. Because it does sound a little weird for people and they don't know, Eric Johnson will be here a little bit later. Chris isn't here. Tabitha was trying to get things rocking and rolling so that we could get this show going. So she was given a course.
A very, very quick lesson in starting up.
Whoa, you're really loud.
That's probably just you.
Okay, there we go. So anyway, we're doing our best here on this Friday. Hope you've enjoyed the weather because it's supposed to get hot again with a little steam added in, would cheer it up. Friday it is. We'll have some fun on this Friday as well. And, of course, we love your stories as well. Okay, here we go. A couple things just out of the gate, as we told you before. We've got what's coming up with what's actually happening in the ICUs. We're going to deal with that coming up at 9 o'clock. All right. Now, Cori Bush responded yesterday. She did an interview with Fox 2, one of our fox2now.com is who she did the interview with. She says that despite spending $70,000 recently on her security detail, that she is about defunding police, that it has nothing to do with each other. They are two separate entities.
They are not two separate things.
She says they're completely different. She says she wishes she didn't have to spend the money on the security detail. She said, but if she's not alive to do the job that she's been elected to in St. Louis, there will be a problem. She said not only has she had death threats on her life, she has had death attempts. She alleges that people have tried to kill her already.
I would like to see the evidence of that and the police reports that she has filed.
And we have not seen the police reports yet. Now,
if that is true, we
now
need
the
to see the
follow
evidence.
there was no follow-up question if there was evidence, but this comes after she is accused of also threatening the McCloskeys, regardless of what you think of the McCloskeys.
Right.
She tweeted out, "You spit on my grave, and for that, you will be held accountable." Or not spit on my grave, you spit on my name.
Right. Because they actually acted up within the law of the Missouri Castle Doctrine. And what's her grievance with them? Everything they did was absolutely 100% legal. It was legal. They have every right in the state of Missouri to protect their persons and their property. If they feel threatened, they have every right to brandish a weapon. That's within their rights.
I'm not sure if you guys saw the tweet that she had, but she took part, and Cori Bush took part in the protests that went through the private
Correct.
neighborhood. I repeat, private neighborhood of the McCloskeys. She said Mark McCloskey is an absolute liar. He has spat on my name, and because of that, his day will come. Is that a threat?
It sounds like a threat to me, yes.
Okay. I pushed it
So,
through to see if it was a story 2 days ago.
Is she going to pay for their security?
Yeah. They're not an elected official yet.
So
We'll
she's
see.
hired $70,000 worth of personal security, which taxpayers pay for. And then she goes out and makes threats against other people.
It sounds like a threat to me. I don't know.
Well, anytime you say you know you're going to get it or you're something along those lines, that is definitely a threat.
His day will come.
His day will come. If I
You
said that
spat-
to you,
you
wouldn't
spat on my
Right.
name.
Right.
You spat on my name all the time, Tabitha.
My day will come.
Your day will come.
Now, see, if I said that to you, wouldn't you feel threatened?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would be thinking, okay, well, what's coming my way?
Yeah,
How
so-
is my day coming?
So this, I know, I was shocked when she said what she said, but man, oh man, oh man. But then anyway, regarding this interview she did with fox2now.com yesterday, she said it, as I told you, she had to spend that money. She does not consider diverting monies that are supposed to go to police to social programs. She still says if you call 911, you're going to get a call. She said this takes away a lot of the tear gas that was used on her and others in Ferguson, rubber bullets that are used, that these should not be used on protesters, and that money that would be going to SWAT teams and police should be going to social programs. Well, there's you know what? And I talked to Drew offline. Drew just said she didn't threaten anyone. So Drew says that's not a threat. What she
Drew's
said.
going to always side with her.
Well, I know Drew's always
He's
decided,
always going to
but
side with her regardless of what she says. And I know that about Drew. And I'm going to tell you right now, Cori Bush, I spit on your name now. So please come and get me. I'm waiting.
Be careful. Anyway, that's a big story that's out there today as we kick off stuff that we're covering this morning, is the fact that Cori Bush did that. Hey, Olympics, Americans are rocking and rolling right now. They're dominating the medal account. So that's good. But guess who's doing the domination for the Americans this year? It's the women.
Well, of course it is.
The women. The women are carrying the men's ass big time.
Like in real life.
Yeah, if you go down and break it down, I mean, what happened to American men's track and field? They suck now. They may have
Are
one
there
medal.
any real men anymore? Maybe that's the
not
bigger
men's
issue.
track and field. That's
I'm
for
not sure if
sure.
we really have a classification for men these days.
But kudos to our women who are dominating the Olympics. The American women's soccer team, the controversial team, they managed to pull out a bronze after getting shut out by Canada and not allowed a gold. So that was decent. But also, you do what you want to do. But when you stand up and you're the only person on the entire soccer team that won't take a knee, that takes some you-know-what.
It does.
Carly Lloyd has been an incredible ambassador for that soccer team for a long time. She didn't. Megan Rapinoe finally came. Megan had a terrible game the game before, but she scored 2 goals in the final. But Carly Lloyd had 2 goals as well, including the big goals. And Carly Lloyd was the only person on the American soccer team who did not take a knee. which is interesting because we have the other stories that we've talked about. Sydney McLaughlin, who is the sweetheart of these games, or one of them, set a world record in the 400-meter hurdles. She couldn't go anywhere without her flag, talking about how she loves her country, she loves God, and she's an African American.
Excellent.
And then Delilah Muhammad, who took silver in the same event, doing and saying the exact same thing. And then, of course, my favorite, Tamara Mensah. What? Oh, Tamara. Oh, you got to put him on. Tamara Mensah.
I had him on. I just forgot to turn him up.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, you got to turn me up.
The incredible gold medal winning wrestler from Chicago, of all places, talking about how she loves her country, how she loves all the opportunities that this country gives her. USA, draped in a flag, yet our horrible, I repeat, our horrible national media refuses to cover her. Even Fox News. Shame on all of you for not showing this wonderful personality that we introduced you to on this radio show and you heard from.
Yes.
It's just sad. You already know you're not going to get a fair shake when it comes to national media. You're not going to get the full story. You're not. And it's a shame. But anyway, that's what's going on with the Olympics. It's coming down. It'll end this weekend. And
thank God.
Seriously, I still like watching the Olympics.
Have fun with that.
And people in the St. Louis area are watching it, Eric. It's not hugely rated, but it's still the number one. It's from the moment it came on to now, it's still the number one most watched thing throughout the St. Louis area, and it's not even close.
So they won the girls' soccer team. They won.
They won the bronze. Yeah, they beat Australia for the bronze. They won 4-3.
Woohoo! Did they?
It's really a downer.
When they were up on the podium getting their bronze, was the entire team on a knee? How did that work?
No.
That's what I wanted to see.
No, it's at the start of the game.
So they were all on. And
except Carly Lloyd.
See, I don't care. I should have cared enough to see this. And she was the only one standing in the middle of all the kneelers.
Yeah.
She was.
That's why I say it takes guts to do that.
No, it doesn't.
And then you have all these African American track athletes who are like, I love my country. Give me my flag.
Yes.
All you fake people out there,
I wish Bob Barker would have been out there saying, and now here's tickets to a country of your choice. We're sending you wherever you want to go.
Yeah, from the Facebook line. Women's soccer team was more concerned about being woke than playing soccer. That's why they got their ass beat.
Oh, yeah. That is such a life lesson right there.
Shut out.
Focus on what
They were shut out against Canada of all. Anyway, hey, the women's soccer team got, hey, you go out, you go woke, you get woken up, I guess.
What was it someone told me once? Second place is first loser.
That's right.
Well, they're second loser.
They are.
That's the way. Nobody.
But I don't want to come down on them. Hey, they won a bronze medal for our country.
What? It's a participation award.
When your expectations are gold or bust, yes. But, hey, they're entitled to do and to say what they want to say. They are. So congratulations to the soccer team for at least winning the bronze. But there are so many other amazing athletes at this Olympics. And what started it is our women are the ones who are carrying the men. Our men have not been good in this Olympics.
Well, we got basketball still, right?
Well, basketball's going to win, but that's not even an equal comparison.
It kind of is.
Oh, Eric, have you seen the teams from the other countries? It's terrible.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of
the Americans are playing at like 50, 60% and winning.
Yeah, with one hand tied behind their back like the Harlem Globetrotters.
Anyway, I just continue to watch women do well. So thankfully, women are part of the Olympics. Because our men are not. We have, I think, as of last night, we had one medal in track and field, and it was a gold medal winning shot putter. That was it.
Yeah,
a gold medal winning one gold.
Yeah,
we didn't even have any gold.
So it's like
Carl Lewis is rolling over, going, "Oh my God!"
So we're gonna probably win the medal count, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're dominating. They've come on strong in the last 3 days because of the events.
And so we're not winning in the gold count.
No, we're down 3 to China.
Okay.
It'll be tight.
Would you rather have the gold, or would you rather have the overall gold?
I could care less.
I know, because football season is right around the corner. All right, I'm done talking about those.
No, that's
morons.
it. Yeah. Another sad thing, right before we get ready to take a break, there's just no reason for this. 5 children died. 5 children died in an apartment fire in East St. Louis early this morning. 4 of the kids were to the same mom who had to leave. One was another kid from another family that just happened to be spending the night there. The mom's said she had to leave to go take somebody to work or pick somebody up from work. The fire started about 3:25 in the morning. Mom's not there. She comes back. Fire starts. She tries to run into the house to get the kids and can't. Yeah, it blows my mind, and it is so sad that these stories continue to happen.
You know what that speaks to me more of is that East St. Louis is a blithe delay, and it could have happened anywhere. It could have happened in Chesterfield. It could have happened in St. Charles. But East St. Louis is just a dilapidated wreck of a town. And this lady, she went out to pick up a friend to take her to a job or something like that. And she comes home in that apartment. Did you see it? It looked like it should be condemned. There are people living in that.
I did not see it.
I did.
That's why it's hard for me to talk about Blythe and that sort of thing.
Dude, it was bad. And East St. Louis needs to be ripped apart and rebuilt. And so some parts of St. Louis. That's the saddest part of all this stuff, is that's not an unnormal story. That story happens a lot of these house fires in housing that the wiring was built in 1934 and people are still living in these places. That's what was sad to me. Those kind of things seem like they're preventable, but not this time. It's just unbelievable that these kids couldn't get out of that place. Trapped.
So that's another sorry thing that happened today. That's the serious side of that. Cardinals lost again last night. Just got swept by the Braves, and it's over. It's been over for a month. I remember saying on the show that it was over a month ago. Well, I don't give up on my Cardinals. How dare you give it up? No, you see, when you've watched this team for 42 years, as I have, and that's when I first picked them up as a 6-year-old. Yeah. So it's sad. Cardinals are done. Mike Shilton, they may need a new manager. We'll see at the end of this season. Who knows what happens? Also, real quick before we take our first break of the day, Tabitha, are you going to be able to give us a break today?
No. So you
don't know
just
how to
keep on talking.
Seriously?
Why? No, I don't.
Okay, well then we'll continue on. Chris is a no-show. We love him, but he didn't show
He
up.
should be here any moment.
So Tabitha's done everything. Kudos to Tabitha on this
Embarrassing.
Friday
Well, I'm
morning.
not doing a great job, but I'm
You're doing a
keeping it
fantastic-
on.
No, she is.
Tabitha.
I've been over here working on Eric's camera.
This is
No,
This is like Airplane 78 when the girl had to take over the controls of the plane.
I bet they crashed, didn't they?
You know, I think she brought it in for a landing. Now that I can't remember. But
I mean, things are going. I technically could figure out the break. I just don't know which commercials to play. I do know how to.
I never want to
into
give Tabitha too much credit
break.
because her head gets
I do.
big,
I know.
and on her
I
small
know.
little
No
4'10" body, we don't need
Oh
that.
my god.
For
Well,
her head to
obviously,
get too big.
obviously, I'm
But-
not that talented because I can't even figure out how to turn Eric's camera on.
you look a little disheveled
I'm like,
today.
I
You need to
figured out-
brush your hair.
I
No,
figured
she's
out
wide
where to
awake
put it.
today.
Is she wide awake
Yeah.
today? From what?
But I have to give her credit because Tabitha likes to move at her own pace, which is slow, and she was racing in here today, hands full. She did this. She got us rocking and rolling. So kudos
Hey,
to you.
we're
on
up
this
and
Friday.
talking.
That's right. Kudos to you, Tabitha. You deserve it. Mucho.
Now,
Gracias.
will somebody
Thank you,
please
thank
call
you,
and tell me
thank
how to
you.
turn Eric's camera on, and we'll be good.
My cam. Look, I have a face for radio. I'm cool with that. I don't need any cameras whatsoever. Keep them on Vic. As a matter
I
of
say
fact,
everybody's going to see a lot of Vic right
Yeah.
now.
All right. Hey, that's all right. I like it. Just keep the camera on me.
we're gonna get Vic a stripper pole over there.
Oh.
behind him.
I thought Chris ordered one.
I wouldn't know what to do with
Oh,
it.
sure. Come on.
Couple updates from our Facebook line too. We appreciate you guys doing it. Check out Gable Stevenson's gold medal match, last second win, unreal. That was something that happened overnight. I'll have to check that out. Also that was from Aber Vera, Drew Collins. The Olympics disappointed for a lot of athletes. He was sure to bring up the St. Charles hammer thrower, who came in 8th place. Yeah, it was Deanna Price had a bad throw for her. She only finished in 8th, and she has the longest throw in the year. But Gwen, was it Gwen Stevenson or Gwen?
She was on the show.
No, Deanna was
Oh,
on
I'm
our
sorry,
show.
Deanna
Gwen
was on the
was
show.
the African-American athlete also from St. Louis
Right.
who turned her back on the flag. Well, Gwen was even worse. Gwen finished all the way down like 11th or
Yeah, she was
12th
11th,
place.
Right.
I mean, she was terrible, worse than Deanna.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they did, but still, the women have carried the men. And it's just, like I said, it's just sad what's happening to American men's track and field. There is no American men's track and field. We're not the dominant country anymore at all. We couldn't even qualify our men's 4x1 team, which we dominated forever. I mean,
Are there any
how
men's
soft? I
field
know
that-
how soft have our men become. It's
I
bad.
know it is bad. It is bad.
I mean, we got people from Norway beating us in the 400 and 800. Now it's like, oh man, it's
Oh,
just
well.
woo.
We're proud of them for getting there.
Yeah.
They at least made it there.
I mean, what are the highlights of this year's Olympics?
The,
I mean,
the women.
the women volleyball.
No, there's
team
going to be a lot.
outfits.
You've got 30. They've got 30, 31, 32 gold medals.
Yeah,
There's a
and
lot of highlights.
and you have to be vested.
And
in that
I
stuff.
stayed up till, I didn't get to see the end of this, but Gwen Berry, thanks, Drew. Appreciate it. Women's beach volleyball is my favorite sport.
Why is that?
Imagine that.
I like men's beach volleyball too,
Okay.
but women's
well,
beach
imagine
volleyball,
that also. No.
they're amazing athletes. I just like to watch them perform.
Yeah.
No, and the Americans again won the gold medal last night, which was awesome. Loved watching. They won easily, which was fun watching. But they finished up because I was on late last night. Fox 2. We went on after the NFL preseason game, so they finished up while I was like on my phone trying to watch to finish it up. So yes, the American women's volleyball team and Sand Beach volleyball team was great. The American women also won in regular volleyball last night. They're going to the gold medal match now, so
Wow.
that's cool. Yeah, it's. We've got a lot of
You know,
teams
the thing
there.
about all these sports, my mom used to be way, like Sunday afternoon, I don't know about, she used to love figure skating. NBC Sports would have like figure skating on. I don't think they do that anymore, do they?
So-
And like the Olympics, you know what the Olympics used to be? It was a soap opera. So you would follow the USA hockey team, say, in the Winter Olympics, and you would see, could they beat Poland? Oh, look, they just scooted by Poland. Could they? Then you would have the next round. Could they beat France? Oh, look, the USA just beat France. They lost to some. But then it gets to the Russians and it was like this soap opera, and you became vested in the entire series of the Olympics. Now, you're not vested in anything. So that's why I think the Olympics are going to fail. Not to mention they're trying to bring in all this political wokeness crap.
Well, it could have been one of the reasons. It's still the least watched Olympics in like 33
It
years.
needs to be.
And you see where
There's
it
no
is,
crowds. It's COVID. I mean, there's a lot of
but
reasons.
it'll be over on Sunday. But there's still
Is it
some good
do you
things.
think it's mercifully over?
No, I don't think it's mercifully over. I don't agree.
Do you
with
think it's stick a fork in it, try again in 3 years?
it's just not where they wanted it to be. So, speaking of not where you wanted it to be, we're going to wait for this a little bit later. But since we haven't taken a break and we'll continue to go through it, and I was just giving some updates. All right, here's the big story from yesterday, which comes in today. It is clear most, and I say most, of these school districts in the St. Louis area, the public school districts, are caving in to where they feel they have to start the year with masks.
I saw that.
Yeah, Parkway.
Now, you've got Parkway, you've got Rockwood, two of the largest school districts here locally, in Kirkwood, Webster, and it's just a matter of the other school districts falling in. I know we have some Pattonville people that are online. Let us know what they're saying in Pattonville and from your school district as well. Families are fighting back, Eric. There is backlash trying, but what we saw yesterday is the school boards, and this is what Francis Howell did with their critical race theory situation. They pass it privately and then have a public meeting after an act. I mean, that was what Francis Howell did, and that's why Francis Howell wasn't transparent. And that was and shame on the superintendent and the school board.
Not transparent.
Just because they already said they had it voted on in advance, and they did not go against what Bob Onder said, state senator, who accused them of doing that. Just, hey, if you're going to do that, let us know what you're trying to do, so we know that when we come to vote, we'll vote you out if we don't want you in that position. But now, so Parkway, Rockwood, Webster, Kirkwood, they're all falling in line, saying that they have to have masks. Now, I still have yet to see one school district show any scientific evidence that masks work or still work. And that's not me being cantankerous in any way. I want to see evidence. I want to feel good about that if I'm a parent. Hey, you know what? They know what they're talking about. They're not just spewing some line that they've heard from the CDC or Fauci or somebody else. None of them, not one. Well, and we're going to break it down. And this is why I'm glad we've got Tannehill on. We're going to break it down because we're talking about, okay, there's a surge. There's a surge in variant cases. We've got to get masks on our kids. What? There's a debate about masks. How do they apply to each other? They don't apply because there's still zero evidence that masks work, even according to the CDC. Yeah. It's sad that this is happening.
I think that it's liberalism, man. And
this isn't about a vaccine anymore. This is about mask now.
Here's what I think. Okay, so don't you think that schools that are more liberal, maybe, I don't even know if that's the right word, they feel like they have to do something. You know what I mean? It's like, well, we got to open the schools. See, if that's the goal, opening the schools. Well, we can't just go in willy-nilly and open the schools. Okay, we'll open the schools. Well, now I heard something about Parkway or these school districts. Was it a mandatory vaccination that you have to get vaccinated?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But they're
that,
doing
that would be illegal.
But they're doing free vaccinations this
Yes,
week.
they're doing those at school.
Okay.
Yes.
So
There's no such. They're even from a college standpoint. Colleges are quote trying to mandate vaccines right now, but there's also lots. And when I say lots, multiple lawsuits to stop colleges because right now, if you look at the law, it's illegal.
Yeah.
But the only way you're going to be able to stop a college is by taking them to court. And several of those are going on right now, and it's all about timing right now.
So in-person learning is the goal. Do you not think that these school boards have the little thumb?
St. Clair, our 13 district, also masking up.
They have to do something.
In all Illinois
I'm sorry.
schools.
These guys feel like they have to do something. They feel like I can't go against science. There's a liberal
because it makes you feel like you're doing something, even though
that's right.
there's no scientific evidence
that's exactly
that backs
what it is.
Yes, it's like
it's a placebo.
They feel like they're doing something to protect people for this in-person learning, but the thumb that they have, the bartering chip they have, is okay, guys. Looks like we're going to have to go back to virtual Zoom classes.
And it's all inside. It's because, even if you're inside, and these classes are going to be socially distanced as well, is from what I'm told. You're inside, socially distanced, and you have to wear a mask. But when you go out to recess and you're around kids, because you're outside, you don't have to wear a mask.
Right.
At PE or recess, but you're still going to be right next to people. I mean, it's...
Well, I mean, come on. All you have to do is talk about restaurants and how masks work, that you obviously cannot become infected while you're sitting down eating. You only have to wear a mask when you're walking. That tells us every single thing we need to know.
If you're in 4th grade, this is year 2, you now have almost half of your schooling in a mask if this is the way it's going to be.
No, I know. It's terrible. And you're not the first person to bring that up. That's a great point.
It's abuse. There's no other way to put it. It is abusive because you go to school to learn and to form your mind, and if you don't have the correct social interactions, my God.
By the way, thank you, Afton, for checking in and telling us that Afton will have masks in the school classrooms, but not at PE or recess. Also, from the Parkway School District, we did a story last night where we got families legitimately talking about, and it's not an option for everybody, but talking about sending their kids to private school now.
I saw that.
Because they're shocked. They don't want to see their kids be put in masking. And because in the masking dilemma, the masking debate, not only is there not any scientific evidence, I'm still hoping, if somebody could show us some, it would be great on the show. If you wanted to help teach us or educate us, go ahead and share the show.
Yes.
But there is none right now. And we're not even talking about, not for all kids, but for some kids, the dangers of wearing a mask all day long.
Right. You need to talk about that. And so this is the time. You got 16 months, and I'll talk to the more liberals on our Facebook right now. You have 16 months to weather what they're trying to put in front of you. After 16 months, when the next elections come up, this is when you can start to introduce things as school choice, as vouchers, as putting advertising campaigns together for parents, for communities that say, these are not public schools, these are government schools, and start to brand these schools as not in the best interest of the parents, but they are in the best interest of their tenured teachers. They do what they want. They run over you like a machine. And it's time, Vic, to start private schools that you can now have a voucher at the beginning of the school year and go learn reading, writing, arithmetic, athletics, music. Hey, there's another one. Remember music? And we can start. They've been trying to push school choice for many years. And this could be the time, the era that it pops in.
Maybe not. I don't hear, Eric, there's not a lot of momentum there.
They're not public schools.
I know.
They're government schools.
Yeah, I know. There's just not a lot of momentum there right now. But at the same point in time, when you look at what's going on with the masking of kids, I don't blame people for looking at the possibility of private schools. Most of the private schools last year and right now from the private schools that I know of, and I did last night check with 3 of them, they're following what your county does. If there's going to be a county mandate on mask, then they would follow that. But since there's not going to be a mandate on mask, and thanks to HB 271, if you agree with that, HB 271, this state law, which just put Sam Page in his corner and slapped him and said, "You're wrong. Eric Schmidt's right. You're wrong, Sam Page. There is no mandate." And then August 17th, when that hearing happens and it becomes overwhelmingly official that there is no mask mandate.
Right.
That's what I think the private schools are doing. They're following the local mandates, because I can tell you this much. The parents in the private schools are pushing back very, very, very hard.
Yeah.
And I know it's happening in some public schools as well, but public school parents are facing an uphill battle there.
Yeah.
They're not paying to have their kids there.
Let me ask you this.
The private school parents
This is so
are
important to me. I just think this is important to me because I feel like, what if your only coffee option every morning was this dilapidated little diner and the coffee was horrible, and that's the only place that you could go look, I got my coffee right now. This place makes great coffee. And all of a sudden, the Starbucks pops up right next to it. Competition. Where do you think the majority of people are going to go who are coffee connoisseurs? They're not going to go to the dilapidated diner, which is what I consider public schools now. They're going to go to this place that's like, what? We're going to make an experience for you. We're going to treat you right. Competition is the only thing that's going to kill this crap. It is the only thing that's going to kill this crap. And I'm telling you right now, if you receive every single semester a voucher and you take it to your school of choice, there'll be private schools popping up all over the place, Vic.
But once again, what you say makes sense, but it's not going to happen.
Why?
Because there's a lot that has to get approved and voted on for that to happen, and it's just not going to happen.
It could save a lot of these urban kids. These urban kids could have competition.
Eric, it could, but it's not going to happen.
Man.
It's just not. It's not. There's no momentum for it, Eric. There just isn't.
Nah, there's a little bit.
Not where it needs to be.
Oh, sure there is. No. You don't think that the optic...
It would have happened already, Eric.
You don't think that the optics of...
Do you really think, Eric, okay, not to get into the whole school of... Because I know you're always pushing these schools
I hear
of
these
choice,
problems. I hear problems.
I know.
I'm like, well, how do you solve that problem?
And you think rationally, but you don't think about what's the forces going against it. Do you really think the unions... for the teachers in public schools are going to allow this to happen? Never in a million years. It's not going to happen because you have to get voted on. You have to get money for these schools, and people have to approve to get these schools of choice. It's just not going to happen.
In my world, when I'm the president of the universe, there will be school choice, and you'll be able to go
like
wherever you
Idiocracy.
want. Why do you have to compare my name to that movie?
That man was the hero. The guy that became the president in Idiocracy was the hero. He saved the world.
It's just unfortunate that happens. We also, by the way, coming up at 9:00, we've got Dr. David Tannehill from Mercy Hospital, who's going to explain what he's seeing in the ICU right now. He's going to tell us who these people are, if they're vaccinated or unvaccinated. What he thinks about the vaccination when it comes to the messaging that's out there. We'll talk about masks because Dr. Tannehill puts it out there. He puts out there straightforward. He's also put out a message on Facebook recently just to really give you an idea again of what's going on, because it's commonplace. It's common knowledge now. Common knowledge. The vaccine does not stop you from getting COVID. Okay, we know that. It's not even debated anymore. But there's still some messaging out there that makes you wonder, like, okay, well, if we've agreed to this, then all these other things are not falling in line, which brings us to the mask, quote, debate, if there is even a debate, the placebo effect, as Tabitha talks about. So the sad thing is that kids again, being put in those masks. So we're going to get into that as well, because now we're talking about caseloads. We've got cases now, guys, where we haven't had since January, February. Over 500 were told COVID cases.
Okay.
Once again, almost no flu.
Okay.
Okay.
It's very strange.
While we had 40, we were told there were 48 deaths last week in the St. Louis metropolitan area of 2.8 million people, and not all of those people who are in the hospitals were even from the St. Louis metropolitan area. Yes. Are 48 deaths concerning? Yes. But once again, as we'll talk to David Tannehill about, number one, are they truly, quote, COVID deaths? Number two, could they possibly have been flu deaths? What are any of the comorbidities that are happening? Because we're already told what the people look like who are inside these ICUs. And what I mean by that is the certain comorbidity they have. And we'll ask Dr. Tannehill about that. And how can the vaccine help you, if at all? Because it's not all lining up, guys. It's just not lining up.
But my issue with all of this is, of course, we don't even want to lose one person. But the way I feel our government and our hospitals, our medical system is leaning to is that they don't even want one death from COVID. They're going to mask everyone up. They're going to force everyone to vaccinate because they want 0 deaths. And that's never going to happen. Could you imagine if we had to mask up and shut down over the flu? There's 60 to 80,000 deaths over the flu, and we're not having any of these same restrictions.
So I'm looking on Fox 2 now, and I'm always looking at the COVID stories. One of the stories here's the headline: can you get the Delta variant if you've already had COVID-19?
And I already know the answer to that.
And the doctor comes on, and the first line he goes, well, yes and no.
Exactly.
I'm like, what? What are you talking about? I don't think that these people are.
Well, I hope you went on to read the rest of what he said.
I used to think that these guys were incompetent boobs and they're hiding something. I don't think they're hiding anything.
No, I like that article, Eric. I think that guy was absolutely right on. He said yes and no.
He was.
But if you go on to read the article, guess what he also says?
Here it comes.
Guess what he also says? He says, well, if you have natural immunity,
yes,
you're unlikely to be reinfected. Only if you have a weakened immune system, maybe you have no antibodies built up and you could get COVID again. But guess what? If you are vaccinated and you have a weakened immune system, you are also not building antibodies and you're more susceptible. So he gives a good picture
what you're saying.
of a combination of natural immunity and vaccinated immunity.
It's one of the first times I've seen that published.
Exactly. I loved that article.
But my point was
because when you can't give the information that you've been given anymore, you're forced.
Tannehill's going to come on here today, and we're going to get frustrated with him because the first thing we want Tannehill to say is if you've had COVID, you're cool. Move to the side. He won't do that.
Doubt it.
He won't do it.
I doubt he'll do that because that's not Mercy's message.
I understand that. But on more and more national shows right now, the word natural immunity is starting to slip into the conversation.
It has to.
I know.
And you know why it's not slipping into the conversation now is because of censorship. It's not that their doctors aren't saying it. It's that the media is not reporting it.
Yeah.
The same with ivermectin.
So secretly,
everybody's ivermectin doesn't work. But yet all of these
story
studies
on
prove
Channel 2 yesterday
that it absolutely does work.
Story on Channel 2 yesterday that this doctor came on and said the ivermectin treatments didn't work so well.
And that guy
was
is a complete quack.
Well, who knows?
Dr. Trotman in Springfield, Missouri.
Who knows?
A complete quack.
Maybe he wanted it to work.
He's never tried ivermectin. What he's doing is he's reading a couple stories.
Wasn't that the key?
No, he did not try it. He was citing other stories. He said, well, people have come in and said they took ivermectin on their own.
Okay.
But who knows if they took it right, what they took,
remember,
etc.
Remember, Vic, when we thought, well, these guys are hiding something. They know something we don't. I don't think they know crap. I think they are just incompetent. Well, I really do.
I don't think they're incompetent. I think that they have a message that they have to push the vaccine, and that's the corporate message, and that's what they have to do.
And just remember that Dr. David Tannehill is not one of these liberal guys when we get him on, just to keep that posted.
And I have a lot of respect for Dr. Tannehill.
We'll take a break in about 8-9 minutes, but there was another topic that's getting hot, guys. That's Cuomo. And now he's being told, if you don't resign immediately, we're going to impeach you. We're going to impeach you. So that's going, not only is de Blasio going after him, but Republicans, Democrats all throughout the state. Now it's just a matter of time. Is he gonna resign himself, or are they going to impeach him?
No.
He's done.
He is 100% done.
maybe.
And now
He's
the
not
pressure is
leaving.
also being put on Chris Cuomo,
Yes.
his brother as well.
Yes, as it should be.
That's your buddy, Vic.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
Because he helped him strategize
No.
Bingo.
how to beat these charges.
It's even worse than that.
He helped him write a letter
I
about how
cannot
to
believe
beat
that
these
actually
charges.
came out. How
It
that
had
got
to.
out, it blows my
It
mind.
had to come out. CNN to save any kind of face. Look, Supreme Court justices, when there's a conflict, they recuse themselves. Cuomo should have said, "I'm on a sabbatical until this thing is over," and CNN should go, "Yeah, we're going to pay for Chris to go on the beach for a while." There is a hour-long segment on CNN where they cannot talk about the biggest story in their. I mean, he threw to John Lemon. What's his name?
Don
Lemon on the segment right after they did all their niceties, and then all of a sudden he starts talking about his brother. I mean, it's the most creepy thing CNN has ever done. And so you're right, Vic. I don't think he's going to resign. I think he's going to play the wise guy, and he's going to stick it out, and he's going to do the fight thing, and he'll lose probably. You're right, but Cuomo. That's his little brother Cuomo.
There's
Chris.
No probably he is going to.
Chris is the interesting one. What is CNN going to do with
They're
Chris?
They're going to keep him.
I know, but can't.
I think at some point they might be forced to make a decision because
I think Cuomo's gone.
You do?
Chris
Which
Cuomo
one?
Chris
from
Cuomo.
CNN?
Because this is going to go on for
Yeah,
months.
both of them.
Well, they gave him the option of taking a leave of absence.
Yeah.
Which he chose not to. But guess what? It's not real journalism.
No.
If he has his radio or his TV show and he cannot talk about his brother.
There's no real journalism on that station anyway.
Well, I know,
let's
you're right.
let's just
If
be
there's
honest about that.
anywhere where there's fake
you can't
news, it's
even
there.
faking no journalism with Cuomo on the air.
They're both going to be gone.
Yes.
Even CNN is going to have to get rid of him. But here's what will happen: something will play out where it doesn't look bad for CNN, or he'll get a new job or something. But I very seriously doubt, like 90%, he stays in that job. There's no way. They can't keep him. They just can't keep him there because it's been so bad.
Yeah.
And, every dog has his day. And you know what? You're dishonest and you lie and you cheat and you break the law and you do things with your brother that you shouldn't have done. And you were willing to interview him over a year ago, how great he is with COVID and, his book deal, and then challenge other people and tell them they're stupid and wrong because they disagree, and said that he's doing things wrong and he's killing people.
It's over.
And then it comes back, and then here it is. It's sitting in your lap.
Yeah, right here.
We already. I'm sorry. It's a bad.
prompter.
It's a bad family. I feel bad. I feel bad for their
For
other
the dad,
family, their mom,
for the
and
dad. I mean,
that these are the two kids that were raised. Seriously, I would be depressed and distraught. I wouldn't even want to go out in public if my kids were like this and grew up to be like this.
It's just hypocrisy. Look at Chris Cuomo. When he had COVID, remember? He was supposed to be in isolation, yet he was out riding his bicycle around the neighborhood.
Yeah, and then yelling at people who asked him and challenged him, "Why are you outside?" Not being confrontational with them at all. And then he gets confrontational because you see a lot of people in life who are like that, who think they're special, that the rules don't apply to them, and it's the Cuomos, and
no question,
and it's sad.
They're the virtual.
We're told their parents are dead, so
no. The mom's still alive. Mom's still alive.
Well, that's what Facebook post just said. I thought mom was still alive. I know somebody who met mom in the last 3 years.
Yeah, because the mother was in a nursing home at one point, correct? I believe
no,
she was.
that was a story too. I thought, didn't they move her out?
Something
quickly?
happened. I know at one point she was in a nursing home, but I don't know what happened with her after that. But yeah, someone said
I think it's time.
It's
It's time that we put the whiteboard up and put little dots on it when we think that he's gone, and when we think the little brother is gone, because it seems like each one of them is going to happen at some point. How do you keep Chris Cuomo? I don't think he even has an audience anymore. Do you know if CNN did this shift, if they got rid of all of the liberals over there, they could turn this thing around.
Eric, oh my God, here you go again.
On.
You're out. I love you, but you live in La La Land. CNN is.
No.
Who do you think CNN's funded by, Eric?
Look,
We've talked about that. Oh my God,
I get it.
Do you realize? And this is true. What Drew Collins just said. CNN let employees go who refused to vaccinate.
They did.
I know.
But come on, Eric.
I'm saying if you
wanted
always
to bring up these scenarios that don't exist and will never exist.
Come on, Eric.
If CNN
is state-ran news, it is 100% a propaganda channel.
And Eric, they're not making. They're
not making any money. I'm saying if you wanted to make money,
they're the worst. They are, quote, hear me again here, quote, the worst, if you want to call them news affiliate anywhere in the world. They're the lowest rated.
They didn't used to be.
They're
And
the
they
lowest-
sided with ISIS.
They're the lowest rated in America. They're like 12. They were like 12th or 13th.
As
a
they
couple weeks
should
ago.
be. As they should
Nobody
be.
watches them. Nobody cares. And when I say nobody, I mean large masses. It's insane because Fox News just blows them out of the water all the
But you're making
freaking
my
time.
point for me.
But no, you're making my point. Here's why. And they still won't make changes because they don't
That's right.
have
That's
to.
right.
That's why I think they'll keep Chris
Because they
Cuomo.
don't have to.
And they're heavily funded. You know why
You
they're
know what I
heavily
mean?
funded? Because
They
lie.
still have, but they still, but Chris, yeah, I understand your point, Chris, but they still, this one's different. This one.
Is it, though?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You
this
know
one's
Tucker
bad.
Carlson came from CNN. Did you know that? He had this show called Point Counterpoint or something
There was
like
a
that.
time when I thought CNN was pretty good until I realized the
Kellyanne
propaganda.
McEnany was on CNN.
Yes, that's right. And she got booted.
Well,
she
yeah,
got
because-
fired.
She was literally 1 against 6.
Yes.
Then they made it like 2 on 8.
Yeah,
And she still dominated all of the hosts on CNN. It was bad.
it was.
It was bad for them. And it's like, oh, why do you think they got rid of her?
Yeah,
Because she made them look stupid. I watched
Exactly.
some of those episodes. I was like, damn, who's this
Yeah.
woman?
yeah.
Well, I think that CNN, quite honestly, should be prosecuted because when the war in Syria was going on, I am not kidding you, they sided with ISIS. You know how many Americans right now think white helmets were actually rescue workers on the good side? The people wearing the white helmets were actually ISIS. They were people who seized that area and killed millions of people across Syria. And yes, they were rescuing people out of burned and buildings and rubble because they seized that area. That's why the government was bombing them, because they were killing innocent people. The people you see that they call white helmets are not heroes. They are terrorists.
Yeah. That News Nation that you guys always are preaching about. That's a good. They're
No,
doing.
it's not you guys are preaching about. Me preaching about.
Well, when you guys do the promos for it,
it's still the best
It's
thing
great.
on television.
it's
It's
like
gaining-
an,
it's
it's
gaining
like an
traction.
island though. You can't
Yeah.
get to it.
it's gaining traction, but once again, it takes time.
You need to
And
get that
even
thing
the
a little more
promos,
accessible.
even the promo show.
yeah.
And the great thing is, one of the best shows, the Donlin Report. Joe Donlin is from St. Louis.
Yeah.
He's a St. Louis guy, and the promos even state it. You know, hey, we'll report the news. We'll give it to you every side. It's up for you to decide. We're not
Leland
opinion-based
Vitter's on
news.
there. Leland Vittert went over there.
Oh, I can't stand that
You
guy.
just rolled
Don't
your
even
eyes.
Ever
No, I
say
did.
his name.
You just rolled
Just-
your eyes. You just can't. I don't have a problem with Leland Vittert.
I can't stand that guy. I can't.
I have no
cannot
problem.
stand him. I watch Newsmax. I like Newsmax.
It's good. I mean, it's
And OAN.
that's you.
Newsmax and OAN are nothing compared to Newsmax.
Nothing.
And next, it's not.
No,
even
oh,
they-
close.
Newsmax and OAN are
It's
excellent.
not, in your opinion,
In
which
my
is
opinion.
fine. But the
and
problem
probably to
is
most of our
no,
listeners'
the
opinions.
problem here is we were talking about News
Newsmax,
Nation. We were
No,
talking
I
about
know.
News Nation. So
because that's
fine.
Fox 2 affiliated.
Yeah, that's
But-
another its own for another topic or another
You just
day.
need to get that.
So I
a
can't
li-
talk about Newsmax.
No, don't interrupt our conversation.
You need to get
you
that.
can get into that if you want to do a segment.
I
the
would
thing
like to-
about News Nation, what they do that nobody else in America does, is they give you both sides.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because that's what we need this because there's so much crap. Oh, well, CNN only shows you this side. OAN and Newsmax only show you this side. Fox only shows you. Now you've got a network that actually shows you both sides side by side.
That's
It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's how news used to be.
People will suck it up if they get.
And it's news. It's
Yeah.
not opinion where
Right.
you have people going on about, just like Fox and CNN and OAN Newsmax does. You don't have people spouting off going, well, this is my opinion. This is what's happening. No, it's just straight news
Yeah.
both ways. It's awesome.
I'm sure it has its place. I just
Um,
prefer. I prefer.
You got
I prefer
you got to
my
check it
Newsmax.
out before you say anything because it's good.
I have. I've looked
I know
at
you
it.
do. Yeah, no,
I've
she's
looked at
seen
it.
it. She wants to.
And I like it. I have. I absolutely.
she
I absolutely love
she
it.
likes her candy.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Hey,
a
oh,
good way
shoot,
to put
we
it.
got to-
Good way to put it.
Guys, hey, you know what? Tabitha, Chris, Eric, we just went an hour straight
I
It's fine.
know.
With
We
no
should
break.
be. It's a Friday.
And Chris is
With-
here. We're so happy to see him.
with no break. And
He
we
knows
haven't
how to
heard
hook
from
up the
Chris.
camera.
Okay.
Walter Cronkite, good one on Facebook.
All right, here we go. We'll be back with more. Don't go anywhere. Share the show, 100.7 The Viper. Here's what's going on. Dr. David Tannehill coming up right after the break to show us and tell us exactly what's happening in the ICUs right now. If you have any questions, let us know. Back with more Edge right after this. It's 8:54.
The Show. Back in a moment.
Look, staying healthy isn't easy. Watching your diet, hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed is the only bed that effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. Don't miss our weekend special. The new Queen Sleep Number 360 C2 Smart Bed is only $8.99, plus special financing. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
People's Bank and Trust is helping you get a grip on your finances with our new mobile banking service. You can now manage your accounts, check balances, transfer funds, and pay bills all from the palm of your hand. Visit us online at www.pbtc.net for more information and to start using mobile banking. People's Bank and Trust, hometown banking the way it should be. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hi, this is Eric Joya, sales manager at the all-new Travers Automotive and RV at I-70 and TR Hughes. I'm personally inviting you to come see our awesome selection of pre-owned cars, trucks, and SUVs. Travers Automotive and RV has the largest inventory of lifted trucks and Jeep Wranglers in the market. Our new location also has RVs from Mesa Ridge and Open Range, and a huge selection of pre-owned as well. Come see me and my team at Travers Automotive and RV, I-70 at TR Hughes, TraversAutoandRV.com.
Today, I'm taking it to the streets to give people the good news. Oh, excuse me, hello. I'm Flo from Progressive, and did you know...
No, I'm just waiting for the bus.
So then you have time to hear about how with Home Quote Explorer, you can check if you're paying too much for home insurance.
Yeah, if I was interested in talking to you, which I'm not.
Okay, I'll do the talking, and you just check if you can be saving, which is going to be pretty hard to do if you put on your headphones. Okay.
See if you're paying too much for home insurance with Home Quote Explorer. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Comparison rates not available in all states or situations.
Midnight Auto Supply in St. Peters carries a full line of automotive parts and paints. They're a PPG Platinum distributor of automotive paint and industrial coatings and auto body shop supplies. For over 40 years, your hometown auto parts store is Midnight Auto. Stop in at Midnight Auto Supply in St. Peters, just off Mexico Road, 447-4000, 447-4000, on the web at mid-niteautosupply.com.
Hi, it's Julie again with Ben's Moving and Storage in Wentzville, Missouri, located at the intersection of Wilmer Road and Interstate Drive. We offer on-site security and 24/7 access. We are proud to have served as your one-stop shop for all your moving and storage needs since 1984. Right now, we are offering $25 off moving or a free month storage for new customers. For more information, visit us at bensmovingandStorage.com, and don't forget to follow us on Facebook for future storage sales. Ben's Moving and Storage in Wentzville.
Welcome to MegaNet. For slow internet, press 1. For indifferent customer service, press 2. For confusing pricing, press 3. For extremely long wait times, stay on the line. You are 87th in line, 85th in line, 87th in line, 85th in line, 85th in line.
Where there was frustration, now there's satisfaction.
Hello, this is Helen at Gateway Fiber. How may I help you?
Isn't it time you refreshed your internet provider? For more information, visit gatewayfiber.com.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish
is pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Viper Weather with legendary chief meteorologist Dave Murray.
Hi, this is Viper meteorologist Dave Murray with my Friday forecast and, of course, the weekend forecast. On this Friday, looking for partly sunny skies. The humidity is up and the temperatures are going to be up today. 90 degrees for the high. Tonight, clear skies, more humid, feeling like summertime, 70 for the low. On to the weekend, it's a hot, humid summer weekend. Saturday, 92 for the high. Maybe a spot thunderstorm, but I think on Saturday, really tough to find. On Sunday, up to 95 degrees with a couple of scattered thunderstorms around, but it's a steamy day on Sunday. Again, 95 degrees. Hot times will stay with us into Wednesday of next week, and then there's some signs of a cooling trend late next week. From the Viper Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray. Now back to the Edge on 100.7 The Viper.
Whipper River Electric, a Touchstone Energy cooperative. The Edge Morning Show.
Local headlines now with Fox 2's Vic Faust.
Hey, everybody, welcome back to the show. 9 o'clock here. Let's look at some of your morning headlines. Busch Light, now the official sponsor of Wrestling at the Chase. We've been talking about Wrestling at the Chase coming here. Looking forward to that. Busch Light jumping in on that. St. Louis City is offering hiring incentives to fill vacant garbage truck driver positions. Things have gotten so bad the city can't find drivers to pick up people's trash. People's trash are now sitting around for weeks because there's nobody to pick up the trash. The city now offering $3,000 bonuses just to sign up before you even do anything. Sign up for the $3,000. Wow. St. Louis police are also investigating another fatal crash that happened Thursday night. A lot of questions surrounding that. We'll continue to keep you posted. Very sad news this morning, just inexcusable. 5 children died in East St. Louis early this morning in an apartment fire. Mom apparently had to leave to pick up somebody from work or take somebody to work, and the fire started at 3:25 in the morning. 4 children dead at the scene. 1 died on the way to the hospital. We'll certainly have more on that on Fox 2 throughout the day. Just a sad, sad story. Just can't believe that actually happened. A couple more businesses in St. Louis City, and including a workout facility in the Ladue Clayton area, True Fusion, now forcing vaccination cards. Spirit Airlines, we need to talk to Chris about this. What in the hell is going on with Spirit Airlines? Every day something bad's going on right there. Parkway parents talking about moving kids, not a lot. Looking at private schools now because Parkway has now joined the mix of forcing kids, K through 12, to wear masks to start the school year. Joining Rockwood, Kirkwood, Webster, all over the place. Afton has that sort of a deal. We've had that check-in as well. All of Illinois forced to wear masks, K through 12. Cori Bush addressing criticism over her need for private security. She said that she recently paid $70,000 for private security detail, but still has a message of defunding the police. She says that you are not connected. Anybody that says that doesn't know what they're talking about. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's mobile food truck, the Monomobile, was in St. Louis yesterday, handing out free tacos. Let's look at your morning headlines. I'm Vic Faust.
The Edge Morning Show.
Hey, welcome back to the show. You're listening to The Edge 902, 100.7 The Viper. You can also catch us on Facebook. Share the show as well. You can also catch us on YouTube, The Morning Edge, with Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, and Tabitha Hassell. I'm Vic Faust of Fox 2. The phone number to give us a call is 636-695-2915. You want to write that down or keep it handy after our guest, 636-695-2915. Lots to get into during this next hour, the fastest 2 hours of Morning Talk Radio. And by the way, thanks for continuing to watch us and listen to us as well on ViperRocks.com. Couldn't believe how many people actually listen to this show and how popular it's become, not only on radio and Facebook, but on ViperRocks.com. Before we get to our guest, Chris, how you doing, man? We haven't talked to you this morning.
Good.
You had a busy night. What are you on, like 2 hours of sleep?
No, I'm okay.
And it wasn't because he was out partying. It was because he was working the third of his 4 jobs.
There you go. I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Rocking
What are you
going to
do this weekend?
I don't even know yet.
It's supposed to be a nice weekend.
I work on Friday nights till 10. We'll find something to do.
All right.
I don't know. We'll see. All I know is it's been a long week. It's been a frustrating week, too, because it felt like we went back to January, February when it comes to what's happening in our ICUs, what's happening with masks, vaccine talk, and things like that. But I'm glad we have a guy to talk things over with, whether you agree with Dr. Tannehill or not, who is an ICU doc at Mercy Hospital. He lives it. He sees it. He literally breathes it and lives it every day. Dr. Tannehill, thanks again for joining us. I know we had you on a few weeks ago, but I asked you to come back on just to give us an update because it feels like so much has changed just in a matter of 2 weeks. When you start this interview off this morning or giving us an update, give us the current scene of what you're actually seeing in the ICUs? Break down so people know, because as people know, not even loved ones are really allowed to go into the ICU.
Yeah, good morning. Thanks again for inviting me on. Happy to kind of give you guys an update.
You sound exhausted right off the bat. I'm just going to say it. I know you. I've hung out with you. I've coached with you. You don't sound very well.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, it's pretty busy. We're seeing an increasing number of cases. I get a report every morning about the number of ventilators that are in use across the entire Mercy system. So that's all of our ICUs at our hospitals in Missouri, Arkansas, and Oklahoma. And the number that I saw this morning was a little bit demoralizing because it was one of the highest numbers that I've seen during the whole pandemic.
Here's a question. We're going to jump around here. Tabitha's going to have the things that she's interested in. But the one thing I'm super, super interested in, and it doesn't seem like I can get a straight answer, is you always see these guys that are preaching the vaccine and how it'll go against the Delta variant and it'll protect you. And, we might need a booster from Moderna. This is opinion, but this is so important. Natural immunity, they say, and this is when I say they, it's like national doctors and that look at this, is 8 times stronger than having a vaccination. Is that true? Do you feel the same way? Or because most of the people in this room have natural immunity from COVID. What is your opinion on that?
And when you get done with that, Doc, can you please let me know what the ICU looks like, which I was trying to find out what it looks like in there.
Snooze, you lose over there.
He never got a chance to finish answering the question.
He did.
Jumped in.
He did.
No, he didn't.
They're horrible. Don't worry about it, Doc. Go ahead.
All right,
my
so
God,
the ICUs
Eric.
are a mess. How about that?
There you go.
Moving
on.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the demographics.
It's pretty bad in our ICUs. So the question of immunity.
Yes.
The natural immunity versus vaccine-induced immunity is different. And is one better than another is a question that I don't know we have great information to really point us to a definitive answer. So I know that seems a little wishy-washy, but I have to be honest and call it as I see it. And so one would think that natural immunity might be better just intuitively. But the mechanism of immunity, there is a thought out there that the mechanism of immunity is a little bit different. And one of the things that makes people really, really sick is that spike protein on the that is on the virus. Yes. And the vaccines work in a way that help the body develop immunity that's specifically directed toward that spike protein, which is what can really drive this severe illness. So I think it's still a little bit of a question that is left to be answered on, which one would truly be stronger. But there's nothing out there that I've seen that would suggest that natural immunity, or if you've had COVID before, that's enough. And so, the recommendation from me and a lot of the experts that are out there still stands that regardless of whether you've had COVID in the past or not, you really should get vaccinated in order to, in particular, to decrease your chances of severe illness and death.
Okay.
But Dr. Tannehill, if the CDC themselves, various immunologists, virologists, they all state that if you've had COVID, reinfection is rare unless you are immune compromised. But if you're immune compromised, then building antibodies from the vaccine is also not a sure thing. But what I don't understand, most people who have natural immunity are rarely reinfected. But people who have had the vaccination, we're not just seeing a few breakthrough cases. According to the CDC, it's 35,000 cases per week they've recorded of vaccinated adults that have had COVID infections. And I'm not an anti-vax person at all. As a matter of fact, I think that there's a lot of people who actually need the vaccine. But I don't understand why doctors and hospitals don't say, well, why don't you have your antibodies tested to see if you have natural immunity first? Mm-hmm. And if you don't, then get a vaccine.
Yeah, great question. So the best way to answer this and other related questions like this is to better understand the true concept of vaccination. And so the intention of vaccination is not necessarily to completely and totally 100% eliminate your risk. That's probably not possible. What the intention of the vaccination is to decrease your risk of severe illness and death. And one of the things that seems very, very clear, at least with the data that we have so far, is that the vaccine significantly decreases your risk of illness and death, of severe illness and death. In other words, none of my patients are vaccinated, and that remains the case.
Have any of them had COVID in the past?
My current patients that I'm taking care of, no.
And that
Wow.
would make sense to me, because a person who has never had COVID and who has not been vaccinated absolutely risks having severe symptoms and death. There's no question about that.
Dr. Tannehill, let me ask you a question. What is the percentage, would you say, for vaccinated and unvaccinated with COVID patients in the hospital?
I don't know the exact number, but it's been whenever it has been, I don't know the exact number today, I should say. But
hey, Dave, I can help you out there. I know the answer to this because we were given it by the St. Louis Metropolitan Pandemic Task Force yesterday, and Dr. Tannehill just works with the Mercy system, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, with the number that we were given yesterday that we reported on the news was about it's up to 20% of all hospitalizations that are deemed COVID right now in the metropolitan area are fully vaccinated hospitalizations. That's up in the last month as well, and I guess it goes to show.
And so that's roughly what we've seen at Mercy is that the overwhelming majority are unvaccinated patients. It's a minority that are vaccinated patients. Typically, the vaccinated patients that do get hospitalized, they're the ones that are not in the ICU. They're the less severe cases.
Good
they
point.
don't end up on the ventilator and that sort of thing.
Ah.
One of the things that we may see over time, one of the things that impacts this is the concept of prevalence of the disease. And so as you have more and more and more of the virus in the community and more people in the community that are getting sick, we may see the absolute number of vaccinated patients that get sick and end up hospitalized start to increase, and that's simply a factor related to how much disease is out there in the community. But what we expect to see is that we will continue to see that the vaccinated patient population is going to be less sick and die less often than the unvaccinated population.
Okay, good point.
Let me ask you this real quick. What is the death rate compared to last year at this time, Dr. Tannehill?
Beat me to the punch.
Oh, yeah. So, great question. The death rate that we're seeing now is probably less. Now, one of the things that tempers my answer is we've only been at this a few weeks with this newest surge in the Delta variant. And so over the long term, the death rate, may be the same, but this is a younger patient population. Today, for example, none of my patients that are sick in the ICU on ventilators are over the age of 60. None of them.
And that's what my first question to you was. Do you see it hitting the African-American community more so than because that's what we're being told in the news?
Yeah, that's been pretty consistent in most all geographies.
Why do you think that is that it's hitting that it's mostly African-Americans in the ICU?
So, well, I don't know if it's mostly African-Americans that are in the ICU, but the incidence of them getting sick and ending up in the ICU, that sort of thing, and some of those underserved populations, they are at more risk. Some of it has to do with healthcare access. Some of it has to do with vaccination rates and access to vaccination. There's a lot of social factors that play into that. I don't know that I can give you a better answer than that.
Very good. Well, yeah, that's an important thing we got to find out. Our Facebook line right now is blowing up ivermectin and other therapeutics. This seems
we
to be
we talked to Dr. Tannehill the last time about ivermectin.
I know, but it's still there. Do you ever kind of revisit the research on ivermectin? I do.
Yeah.
You look at Vicky shaking his head like, no, he doesn't. He doesn't do that kind of witchcraft. But there's a lot of studies now And I read.
I didn't call it witchcraft.
Well, you were thinking it.
No,
That a lot of studies, they're like, wow, this actually is working. There, a lot of doctors, there's like, look, it's kind of like a right to try kind of studies. And it seems to have a little bit of an efficacy to it. Have you revisited the ivermectin and some of the more alternative therapeutics?
Yeah, so actually looking at the medical literature and what's been published it's become even more a part of my routine than it was pre-COVID. And I think every physician has that part of their daily, weekly, monthly routine. But with COVID and how rapidly things are changing and how much stuff is being published, it's becoming an even bigger part of my daily life. And so I have a number of different sources that I go to, and I actually have things that are automatically fed to my email, for example, and other forms of messaging and social media and that sort of thing that I keep track of. And to date, I still haven't seen anything that would change my opinion about ivermectin. And the reason for that is because a lot of the stuff out there that has been suggested as possibly showing benefit are things like what we call basic science research, which is just kind of looking at the molecules and the chemistry and the pharmacology of the drug and the physiology of the disease, and that theoretically it would make sense that perhaps this drug might be beneficial. And then there are observational studies and anecdotes, and people will say that, I've been using ivermectin in my practice and I'm seeing great results with my patients. And those types of studies and those types of stories are subject to a fair amount of bias and may not be controlled in an effective way to give us a sophisticated answer. So that's why we depend on randomized controlled trials to eliminate that bias and really show us what is the true effect of this drug and eliminate the other variables that may play a role in patients' outcomes. And so far, those types of studies haven't shown us anything that would suggest benefit. So the recommendations still stand to not use the drug. That doesn't mean that that is the absolute truth, because the whole point behind the scientific process is constantly working to find the best answers to the hardest questions. And so things may evolve over time to where we may find that there is some suggestion from one of those more sophisticated trials, and then, of course, that may change practice.
Right. And
until then, we stick with the best available evidence that we have and what that tells us as far as our prescribing.
And I understand that. And this is not my question, but I'm just going to add this comment in. I hope that doctors like yourself who work in ICU, and when a patient is probably not going to survive, would try anything, including ivermectin, even if maybe it doesn't work. It's been at least proven safe and it doesn't have any harmful side effects, according to pretty much everyone. But Dr. Tannehill, I feel like we're back in March again, March of 2020. We're seeing cases adding up. We know that death lags infection. I'm curious if you think that we're going to be in a similar situation where 2 weeks, 30 days, 60 days, we're going to start seeing a large number of deaths due to new infections.
Yeah, actually, I'm really worried that what we're about to experience may be worse than anything we've seen yet.
What?
I don't say that.
And I've been hearing that. That's why I wanted to make sure I asked, because is it still true that most people on ventilators do not survive?
I don't think that's true.
It used to be true.
Yeah, so at one time during the pandemic, that was kind of the thought, is that the chances of someone surviving if they ended up on the ventilator was pretty low. It's not that way anymore, and some of that has to do with the fact that this is a younger patient population who's able to tolerate more. And so one of the things that I tell my patients and their families is if their loved one's getting really sick and they're going to end up on the ventilator, I tell them the chances of your loved one dying is high, but it's not absolute. To survive this, it's going to take a very long time. And the patients that do get really, really sick and do ultimately survive, their recovery is measured in months.
Right.
And it includes things like tracheostomies and feeding tubes and that sort of thing.
Right. But,
So
and that's why
that's
death
a lot.
lags. Absolutely.
You talked a little bit about the vaccine earlier, and so many people talk about it. Okay. It's clear right now the vaccine does not stop you from getting COVID. And I think, and you admit, and you even know that. And all docs are pretty much saying that now, right?
That's correct. It won't make your risk zero.
But you still, and now I'm starting to see evidence, Doc, that vaccinated people can spread the virus as well. Have you seen that too?
That's right. You can have all along with COVID, we've had a lot of concern about asymptomatic spread of the virus. So people that the virus is in their body and it's replicating and they can spread the virus, but they have zero symptoms.
So with that being
so it's
said,
a similar concept with the vaccinated
folks. So you can still get sick, you can still spread it if you're vaccinated, but you still think it's a good idea to get it so that you don't die if you get the virus, correct?
That's correct. Your chances of getting severely ill, your chances of dying is much, much lower if you have the virus. And if you are one of those folks who may have the virus but not really get sick but be able to spread the virus, there's a strong suggestion that vaccinated folks, actually there's less virus replication, and so there's a lower viral load that you're spreading.
And
so, sorry.
No, I'm sorry. But and then the final point of that quick back and forth was, have you seen evidence, because I had a report sent to me, and I'm not trying to get too scientific here, but the vaccine being strictly made up of the spiked protein and that now showing up in x-rays all over the body from the head to the toe, which is not a good thing. Can you speak to that?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
I watched a video that the vaccine was pretty much made up of the spiked protein. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so the
and that
in
now
particular the mRNA vaccines, they code for a protein that mimics that spike protein that's on the virus. And that spike protein is the key way that the virus invades the body, and in particular gets into the lungs and makes people really, really sick with respiratory failure. So that's how that vaccine works. And so it wouldn't surprise me if you were to see that something that would show that that's basically throughout your body, because that's how the thing is supposed to work.
But that's not a bad thing.
That's not a bad thing. No, it's going to trigger your immune system to create the appropriate antibodies to that antigen, which is that spike protein, and you would want that to be throughout your body, so that wherever that virus might get into your system, however that might be, your body would then be able to attack it, fend it off, decrease viral replication, decrease the chances of it really getting into your lungs and making you super sick, et cetera. That's the way vaccines work.
So on this show, we have this little text line, and Tabitha actually did send that out a while ago, and we looked at it as a bad thing. Like, look at the virus all over the lungs. Look at this. You can't do this to your body.
You're talking about it in an autopsy.
Yes, and Dr. Tannehill just said that's a good thing. So the messaging is the biggest problem in this entire fiasco, if you ask me.
Yeah.
No question.
I mean,
and Dr. Tannehill has been frustrated with messaging from a national level as well. So
I'm
he
sure.
said that on the show.
It's hard to differentiate fact from fiction.
The messaging has been a mess, and it makes it very, very challenging for those of us in healthcare to, we're getting the message out in good faith that vaccines is really a way that we see to prevent all this despair, sadness, and death that I'm dealing with on a daily basis. And I am very confident that if we were to get our vaccination, if everybody got vaccinated, I would have a lot fewer people dying on ventilators. And every single patient that has ended up in the ICU who is unvaccinated, I try really hard to not even talk about vaccination whenever my patients are sick and in the ICU, because
it's too late.
I want to focus on what's going on with the patient.
Mm-hmm.
But when it has come up with patients and their families, every single one of them regrets not getting the vaccine.
But
and for whatever that's worth, I do think that it's important that people realize that overall, your chances of getting really, really sick and dying from COVID is small. That's true. If you get vaccinated, it gets closer and closer to zero. It's not going to get to zero, but it's going to get closer. And this is a terrible way to, even if you do get sick and survive, your life has been totally turned upside down. And we can avoid all of that just a simple vaccination.
But Doc, I'm curious. Have you seen the VAERS reporting over the past 6 months to a year from the vaccine? There's numbers as high as I've seen tens of thousands of people dying from the vaccine and adverse reactions, according to the CDC's VAERS reporting. Are you familiar with that? And if so, what do you make of that? That's just another question that we had to ask you.
Which report is this? I'm sorry.
The VAERS reporting. The VAERS reporting.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things to keep in mind whenever you're looking at that type of information is the way that information is collected is anything and everything that may happen to a person would get reported. And so is there a true association between vaccination and some of those outcomes? That's the vital piece of information that needs to be teased out. And I don't know that we have seen anything that would suggest that there really truly is a direct association between vaccination and those bad outcomes. The evidence to date that I and many of my colleagues rely on would suggest that the risks from these vaccines is extraordinarily small, and the risks of getting severely ill and dying, while also small, is actually much higher than the risks of the vaccine.
Is Mercy requiring everybody over there to be vaccinated? I can't remember.
Well, you know that.
Yeah, we've done that story.
Every Mercy employee is supposed to be vaccinated by the end of September.
Are they really going to fire nurses and people if they're not vaccinated, Doc? Aren't we short-staffed in the hospitals already?
Good question. Fortunately, or unfortunately, I guess it depends on who you ask. I'm not in the position to hire and fire people. I'll be honest. I think from the sort of scuttlebutt around the water cooler, those folks that are not going to get vaccinated are probably going to quit or already have quit, as opposed to Mercy having to fire them. But I have no reason to think that Mercy and the other healthcare employers in the community, I think they really mean it, that if you're not vaccinated by their deadline, your employment is at risk. I think the obligation that we have to our patients, it certainly wasn't any problem for me to go ahead and get that vaccine.
Yeah. Did you, Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, which one do you prefer?
Well, I got the Pfizer vaccine just by luck, not by choice. I think they're all effective. I do think that one of the differences to consider, the Johnson & Johnson vaccine is one shot. The others are two shots. The best data, the best literature, the stuff that we have out there that is of the highest quality and the things that show the most positive effect is with Pfizer and Moderna. Some of that is because there's more of those doses that have been given than the Johnson & Johnson vaccine. The bottom line is all of them are effective and get the job done for what we need it to do, which is to end the pandemic. And so what shot you get, I don't really care. Just get your shot.
And Dr. Tannehill, a little while ago, you mentioned that you think the worst is yet to come. And I'm assuming that's because there are still a lot of people out there who've never had COVID to build up natural immunity, and there are still a lot of unvaccinated people. I'm just curious what your prediction is.
One of the reasons why I think the worst is yet to come is because this is a healthier patient population who can actually sustain themselves a little bit better than what we saw before, and so they're sicker for longer. That consumes more resources. And so we may not see the absolute number of patients be all that much higher than as far as in total. People
they're
that
gonna
test positive, we may not see that number be a whole lot bigger than what we saw last winter, but the number of hospitalizations and the number of people that are on ventilators and respiratory equipment and in ICUs and that sort of thing may be much higher.
That makes sense. So they're going to be in the hospital longer for a more extended stay to recover. And obviously that's going to take death rates obviously a lot further out. Is that correct?
That's right. And it'll be whenever, if we have this type of conversation a few months from now, I think we'll be talking more about what those death rates are and how people's lives have been turned upside down from the virus and that sort of thing. There'll be a lot of that to discuss.
Dr. Tannehill, many businesses are now requiring the vaccine.
Or some.
Doesn't matter which one, they're just requiring vaccination and proof of vaccination. Would you agree with that for businesses to do something like that?
So I'm a big believer that a business owner can conduct their business however they choose. If I remove my doctor hat and just say I'm a business owner, it would be challenging for me to go along with that because I'd be worried about it hurting my business.
Right.
And I would be concerned about how am I going to enforce this as a business owner and that sort of thing. At the same time, I think it's a reasonable stance for a business to take if they feel strongly that they have a significant role to play in the societal good and that sort of thing. That would be a reasonable rationale for taking that step. I think, as I mentioned before, what's best for people's health is the vaccine.
Yeah.
Right.
And continuing to hammer away at that message, I think, is the most important thing.
I love you, Dave. I do. That's the one thing I don't agree with businesses doing the vaccination card because we already established on this show the vaccine doesn't stop transmission with vaccinated people or unvaccinated people. So what good is it going to do?
That's one of the things that I worry about with those types of things. Are they
doesn't make sense.
Are they going to say only vaccinated patrons are allowed in my establishment and then let them do whatever they want?
It's creepy as hell, Doc. It's creepy as hell. It's
that may be harmful.
I mean, to me, I just think HIPAA laws. I think all kinds of stuff.
Well,
it's
HIPAA doesn't apply.
It kind of does.
No,
it's like,
it doesn't.
It's like
a business, according to HIPAA, and Dave knows this. Dr. Tannehill knows this as much as I do. A business can ask to see your vaccination card. Your employer can ask. Yes, that is not under HIPAA.
Well, and Dr.
I did a
Tannehill-
story on this week. Those are all white lies. Yes.
Real quick.
It's
Let me
legal.
ask you this. It just seems like it would be a nightmare to prove if somebody is vaccinated because aren't we getting into that time now where people that were vaccinated last year, there's going to be boosters to come. Pretty much it's inevitable, correct?
Yeah, I really again this is an unanswerable question, but I think where the arrow is pointing towards boosters. I think I've mentioned before on the show that probably what we're looking at in our future is you're going to get your flu shot and your COVID shot every fall. But right now it looks like just like your natural. One of the thoughts is that perhaps your natural immunity is not permanent. Perhaps the immunity garnered by the vaccine is not permanent. And so I think boosters are probably likely.
Dave, we've had you for a long time. Is there any way, we got to take a break. Can we come back and ask you about mask or not, or do you need to get going? Because I know you're already working your tail off at Mercy.
Unfortunately, I am working in the ICU today.
Oh, crap.
I do have something I need to get at.
Dave,
so
you've been
I
amazing.
don't think I can stay on.
Hey, I'll take as much as we can get from you. Dave, thank you so much for joining us. There's a lot of people who don't agree with what you say, but there's also people who do. So thanks for coming on and trying to educate whether people like what they hear or not.
Hey, I'll be honest. I'm not really in the business of saying things that people want to hear. I'm trying to say things they need to hear, and the people are free to make their own choices, and I definitely respect that. And people have their reasons why they might not agree with me. That's okay. I just know that I'm right.
It's like it is kind of crazy. It's like this is the pilot of the plane, and you're trying to tell him how to fly it. So sometimes you just gotta sit back and take his advice.
People will like you if we get you back on for a gun segment and gun rights.
Right.
I know that.
I'll probably be more popular then. All right, guys, I gotta go.
Thanks, Doc. Appreciate it. We got to take a quick break. We'll come back and digest what Doc was talking about, plus get into some more of what's going on with the Corey Bush saga. And, oh, my gosh, where we are with this whole mask situation. All right. Thanks again. We'll be right back with more Edge right after this.
This is the Edge Morning Show.
Live on 100.7.
The Viper.
Hey everyone, it's Brian Dawson with Brian Dawson Roofing and Construction. I'm here to remind you it's time for exterior work on your home, so call me. I deal and work with all insurance companies. I also do non-insurance work as well. I know it's your money and your castle. I want and will do what it takes to make you happy with whatever it is that you want done. Roofing, siding, gutters, windows, and if I don't do it, I know somebody who does. So call me, Brian Dawson.
At 636-465-9465 or visit BrianDawsonRoofing.com.
The Troy Area Chamber of Commerce presents the 16th Annual Memories on Main Car Show in Troy, Saturday, August 7th, rain or shine. Main Street in Troy will come alive with great cars, music, food, and much more. Registration runs from 8 a.m. until noon, and awards at 3 p.m. Dash plaque for the first 200 registrations. For more information and registration, call 462-8769. That's 462-TROY. Visit TroyOnTheMove.com or like the Troy Chamber on Facebook. The 16th Annual Memories on Main Street Car Show in Troy, Saturday, August 7th. Be there.
Look, staying healthy isn't easy. Watching your diet, hitting the gym, avoiding stress. But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The new Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing sleep. It's the final days to save up to $1,000 on select Sleep Number 360 smart beds and adjustable bases, plus special financing. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
You want a great job, and you want it now. Steel and Pipe in Jonesburg is hiring warehouse specialists right now for second and third shifts. Get great pay and awesome benefits like production bonuses, 401k with employer match, and paid holidays, plus medical, dental, vision, and supplementary insurance. Find out more and apply online at steelandpipe.com. Steel and Pipe in Jonesburg is looking for the right people right now. Apply in person or online at steelandpipe.com.
Good morning, privates! Good morning, Drill Sergeant! I mean, seriously, what a pleasant morning. The sun is shining and the birds are chirping. You seem to be in a good mood today. Astute observation, Private. Astute.
He's probably happy because he found out Honey Nut Cheerios can help lower cholesterol as part of a heart-healthy diet.
So, in lieu of the obstacle course today, I propose a nice meditative nature walk. Does that sound delightful to everyone?
Yes, Drill Sergeant!
Have a change of heart with Honey Nut Cheerios. Learn more about Honey Nut Cheerios by picking up a box at your local store.
Keep your resolution to quit cigarettes this time. Go to I Quit Vapor, 852 Bryan Road, O'Fallon. I Quit Vapor carries the salt nicotine systems, their latest juice flavors, and all of their pod systems. Let their staff explain why the salt nicotine system is so effective in helping you to quit cigarettes for good. It has a much smoother delivery and allows you to adjust the amount of nicotine intake. I Quit Vapor is still your one-stop shop for everything vapor. Keep your quit cigarette resolution this time. Go to I Quit Vapor, 852 Bryan Road, O'Fallon. Puff bars and disposables now available.
Hi, Conrad Bellman at Bellman's Car Nection in St. Peters. Right now, we're paying top dollar for your pre-owned vehicle. At Bellman Car Nection, we'll take anything on trade, van, Jeep, truck. Spring into a quality pre-owned car, truck, Jeep, SUV, or van today. The inventory is always fresh, so hurry in today before someone else buys the one you want. Bellman's Car Nection in St. Peters at Highway 70 and 370, where you will never pay the max. Online at carnection.com.
Here comes more of the Edge Morning Show.
Hey guys, welcome back to The Edge. We appreciate you joining us this morning. Eric Johnson, Chris Knight, and Tabitha Hassell, and Vic Faust of Fox 2. Thanks for sharing the show always. 100.7 The Viper. We continue to grow by leaps and bounds on a daily basis because of you, the listeners and viewers on Facebook. If you want to give us a call, you can do that always. We appreciate that as well. We're open now for the rest of our, 18, 19 minutes, 636-695-2915, or you can check in on the Facebook line as well. Trying to go through a lot of the comments we had from Dr. David Tannehill. Most of the comments I see I was expecting, that's for sure. I'm just grateful for one thing, and I'm doing my best from a media standpoint, and I don't have much of a voice. But whether you're vaccinated or not, whether you believe in businesses requiring vaccination cards or not, I'm just glad that we did get Dr. Tannehill, despite all of his opinions that are different from people on our show, to admit and talk, it doesn't make sense to force a vaccination or to not let somebody into a business unless they're vaccinated, when vaccinated people are spreading COVID just like unvaccinated people, and the vaccine does not stop transmission. So why would you say you can't come into my business when it's vaccinated people who are spreading it the same way that unvaccinated people do? Getting a vaccine does not stop percentages of transmission.
Because those business owners are uneducated.
Exactly. These business owners are uneducated.
No, they are educated by what the media tells them and what Sam Page
Which
tells
means
them.
they're uneducated.
Which means they're watching CNN.
I almost feel sorry for these school districts and businesses.
And that gets into the
because I'm
mess.
like, you're
They're
listening to the same stuff we
uneducated.
are. They're
And
listening to the same things that we are. Right?
There's so much to talk to him about.
But they
and
could read, Eric. They could research.
How much research does a business owner have to do on ivermectin and masks
Well,
and COVID-19 and Delta Plus?
At this point,
this,
if
that,
there's
and the
any
other?
if there's any business owner who's requiring their employees to be vaccinated because they don't want employees to be sick, I've actually heard business owners say, "I want my employees to be vaccinated, and I don't want customers coming in who aren't vaccinated because I don't want my staff to be sick from COVID."
I'm gonna tell you
which is
something.
the dumbest statement on the planet.
I was at a Starbucks maybe 2 weeks ago. Beautiful sunny day. I was just getting my quad espresso, whatever the hell it was that I was getting. And there was a table. These were kids, mind you, maybe 20, 21 years old, two guys. And I listened to them. They were having the same debate we are having. And each one of them was spouting off topics and stats like we do. And I was like, oh my God, these guys are literally having the same debate we do. And they both sounded incredibly intelligent. There's no winner.
Headlines.
Maybe. But it was just everybody is having these same conversations.
Well, of course they are.
Same conversations.
Because people are
it doesn't
trying
make
to
one
talk
stupid
about
and one
their health.
smart. It doesn't make one stupid
Well,
and
yeah,
one
actually,
smart.
it does make one stupid and one
Eric,
smart.
you did not just say
I did
that.
just say that.
I don't know how you could say that because
Eric,
it's proven. Like I just said, the CDC,
Well, I'll give you an example.
35,000
I think what you're trying-
breakthrough
Okay.
cases a week.
I'm raising my hand. Can I make one point? The one thing about not getting vaccinated to me, okay, is what Tabitha sent out. That there's billions of these spike proteins in all of the lungs and all this stuff. And I was like, hell no, I'm not doing that. No way. And then Dr. Tannehill comes on this show today.
Right.
And he says, that's what's supposed to happen. And I'm like going, oh, geez. So a doctor, a physician, a guy that knows the innards of a body is telling all of us, everybody on Facebook and listening on the air right now, that's what's supposed to happen. So what Tabitha was sitting around is a bad thing. The doctor's saying is a good
I don't
thing.
even remember that. I'm going to have to go back and look at that.
I know, and while I respect and like Dr. David Tannehill, he also ripped VAERS reporting, though.
He did.
And I understand why, though.
You do?
I do. And I'm not saying I'm not ripping it. I am saying that I understand where he's coming from because VAERS reporting is self-reporting. So if I had a vaccine and I had the vaccine and then 2 weeks later I got really sick and had some crazy symptom, I could go on to VAERS and say, oh, I'm sick. I had the symptom because I got the vaccine. It's not proven that your symptom that's being reported on VAERS is connected to the vaccine. I do.
See what she's doing?
Yes, but at the
And
same
I
time,
understand. I'm not
I know
even
people
against you
who
doing
have
it.
been vaccinated, who have been extremely sick.
Yes.
And I know it's from the vaccine. So at the same time, I'm
exactly
From the flu vaccine as well.
But that doesn't mean that every report on VAERS actually is connected to the vaccine. But I would think probably most of them or the majority are.
And I know, and Gary Bokerman Jr., who we have on the show and could have on the show more, I tried to get your question in, man. I tried about the mask. We had so much to talk about. We had him on for 35 minutes, and
Which was a very long time.
And he wasn't supposed to join us today, but he made time. He joined us during his break.
He did, yes.
He's working like 13, 14-hour days, and because the ICU is insane. So
But I take everything he says very seriously because I have so much respect for Dr. Tannehill. And I really do think
I like
that
him. I disagree.
I
disagree with him on things, and he knows it on certain things. But I also agree with some things.
Right.
And
I think
I still go back to the May 12th report. I've got it even pulled up. I mean, if you go to, I wish I could put this on this, and we will. I mean, it's listed on the website. If you look up good news, mild COVID-19 induces lasting antibody protection.
Yes,
exactly.
WashU study. They released the article on May 24th, and I've talked about it before, and I want to do it just again because we do have a lot of people listening and watching. I mean, it literally came from Dr. PhD Ali Elabetti. She's the associate professor of pathology and immunology of medicine and molecular microbiology at Washington University. She says it right here.
Yeah.
I mean, it's normal for antibody levels to go down after an acute infection, but they don't go down to zero. They plateau. Here we found antibody-producing cells in people 11 months after even mild cases of the first symptoms.
Absolutely.
These cells will live and produce antibodies for the rest of people's lives.
Absolutely.
That's strong evidence for long-lasting immunity, end quote.
Absolutely.
Does it get any more powerful than that?
The NIH did a very similar study and had the same results. After 8 months when the study ended, the immunity didn't end, the study ended. They still had immunity.
I don't know this to be true or not, but from the Facebook line, Cleveland Institute says you don't need a vax if you've had COVID.
Exactly.
My doctor told me
Exactly.
the same thing. Have you had COVID? Yeah, I lost my taste and smell. I wouldn't get it. But anyway, moving on.
If you had
that was literally the entire
But
conversation.
why isn't that message coming out? To me, that should be a message screamed loud and clear
By
on
who,
every
by
media
where?
platform.
It's not going to happen in
never
local
gonna
news.
happen. It's never going to happen on national news for the most part.
Local news has to take them from the county health department because that's just how it goes.
There's no question. I mean, if you've had COVID, unless you have a really immune compromised system, you are going to be protected potentially for a lifetime. I wish more doctors would come out and say, if you've had COVID and you've tested and you know you've possibly built up natural immunity, you do not need a vaccine. You don't need it. You're putting something in your body you don't need.
And what I just read, that wasn't my opinion. That was from
Exactly.
Washington University.
The CDC says it. You can go on the CDC website and read that if you've had COVID, I posted it on my Facebook page.
What? I didn't know that.
Oh, yes. The CDC stated on their Facebook page, if you have had COVID, reinfection is rare.
Oh, okay.
It's rare.
I thought that the CDC did not say you don't need a vaccine.
No. They said you
But
still
rare,
need a vaccine.
Yeah, but rare, that
But
gets
they
pushed
said
to the side.
it's rare.
Another weird thing about Delta, if you look at India and you look at England, there was this massive spike, and then it comes crashing back down really fast. And then we're in this spike right now, and there's a lot of experts out there that say this variant, for whatever reason, is going to be gone very soon. I've heard that now 3 times in the last 2 days.
The Delta variant?
The Delta
It'll be
variant.
replaced by the Lambda variant or the Delta Plus variant.
This isn't going
Or some other variant.
I'm afraid it's
never,
not going anywhere.
It is never going
and for a variety
anywhere.
of reasons. And then that breaks us down into a whole nother topic. Is it man-made? Is this pretty damn serious that we're not even hearing about other stuff that's coming? Or does it get into a political situation? I mean, the whole thing is just
But
a nightmare.
when do we reach a point where between people who've been vaccinated and people who have had natural COVID, we're all protected for a lifetime because we've had both. Now, with the potentially, obviously, with the vaccine, maybe you're not protected for a lifetime because they're already giving boosters to people. I already know people who've gotten a 3rd and 4th booster shots. They're out there.
Eric's already talked about this before. Eric's doctor, I didn't think would come on this show and talk.
He might. I'll ask.
You could ask him. I mean, he's not going to give his name.
Probably not.
And then, it could be one of us just.
We need
acting
Dr.
like
Croissant again.
We'll get Dr. Croissant. I think he's back from his vacation to Greece.
It was funny, though. He did try to press the shingles vaccine on me. I was like, no, I don't. I'm fine.
He's a cardiologist.
It's true. I'm telling you. It was funny.
Oh, man. You know what? It would be. I mean, I know.
You know what I want? I want all people to go out and get an antibody test. If you think you've never had COVID and you're contemplating
how did yours
getting a
come back?
vaccine, I still have antibodies.
So you got it back?
Yes. And I had COVID in November of 2020, and today I still have antibodies.
Do you have the report with you in
I
your purse?
don't, but I will send it to you later today.
Okay. Wow.
From the Facebook line, thank you, Michelle Newman. Close the borders.
Exactly.
Close the borders. Close the freaking borders, President Biden. And there is no supporter of President Biden or anybody of the current administration that can ever talk about COVID seriously until you call out the administration for not closing the borders and not taking COVID seriously at the borders, because you can't take COVID seriously throughout the country if you're not taking it seriously at the border. And that is a fact, and you know that I'm right, and you can't go against it because it sucks what is going on. We talked to Rodney Davis about this yesterday, how brutal it is when it comes to sick and infected people being brought into this country through the border with no real checks and balances.
With no equipment.
And they're not being forced to get vaccinated, are they?
No.
They're not even all being COVID tested. Only some of them are being COVID tested.
Bingo.
Only some. And even if they do test positive for COVID, they don't have to quarantine for 10 days.
You know what was
they
so
still
funny?
get on a
Yes.
bus or airplane and go to another area.
Jen Psaki yesterday in her press conference says, people that have COVID, we are sending out with PPE, and it is. I'm like, who the what?
Jen,
PPE. That's
I
your
feel bad
solution?
for her because I couldn't
You do?
imagine. Yeah, here's why.
Quit.
Because
she should quit.
Because I feel sometimes as I have a similar job. She has to.
She doesn't have to say that stupid stuff.
Yes,
though.
she does. She has a
yes,
she does. A
She
binder
believes
full
it.
of.
She gets her brief. No, but she
stuff,
gets her
man.
briefing from the president and the vice president
And Obama.
But she believes
and
it.
those behind the scenes.
She worked for
Valerie
Obama.
Jarrett.
Well, you have
She
to
believes
Well,
it.
you have to believe it, or you could never live that life and
No.
say what you say.
No, she believes it. She stands behind
But
her words.
it is interesting since you bring up Jen Psaki, and it is 9:15. We have a couple minutes. They did publicly disagree with Cori Bush yesterday. And
What else are they gonna do?
Well,
Come
here's the
on.
deal.
They got an election coming up.
Nationally, it is proven that defund the police is a terrible
You
thing with
think?
voters. Horrible, like 90% against it. But Jen Psaki was asked yesterday about Cori Bush. Hey, we got to defund the police and do it. And Jen Psaki even said, well, she can think what she wants, but the president does not back her. The president is not about defunding police.
I would love her to come on the podium.
Even if Cori Bush wants to defund the police.
I think she should come. I think that she should come behind the podium and goes, yeah, she's a moron. Moving on. Mr. Ducey, go ahead.
Chris, do we have a phone call before we take a break?
Yeah, Pat from Winsville says he's had the vaccination before.
Oh.
So good morning, Pat.
Good morning.
So you've had your vaccination already, huh?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Go, please, Pat.
Hey, I had a COVID antibody test a month ago. It was part of a regular blood test that my doctor did for me. Are you there?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
All right, and I had COVID back in December, and she was doing a blood screening for me for a number of things. Anyway, COVID antibodies was involved in that, and my numbers are sky high.
Wow.
Exactly.
When did you? I'm sorry. When did you have
December.
COVID?
He had COVID in December. I had it in November, and my levels are sky high.
Pat, let me ask you a question.
My son's numbers were sky high.
Sky high.
So
I
you
love
had
it.
you had COVID in November. How bad did you have
December.
COVID? Were you December? Excuse me.
December.
Were you hospitalized?
No, not hospitalized, but I don't have really immunity problems, but I have a brain injury, actually, and I have migraine headaches real bad.
From
And
COVID?
it
Was that
affected-
from COVID or from something else?
No, from an accident.
Okay. I'm
So
sorry
it
to hear
affected
that.
my migraines really bad, and I was down for about 6 to 8 weeks with the headaches and just real bad. I don't know.
So you're attributing COVID a little
strength
to
or
that.
anything like that. You know, I just couldn't do anything. I
Okay.
could sleep for like 20 hours.
That sucks, man.
So-
I'm sorry to hear it. But you got
Yeah, it
sky
was-
high
It
numbers.
was pretty rough.
Let me ask you this
Great.
real quick because we got to go. We got to go to break, unfortunately. But I do want to ask you this question: now that you go back and get doctor visits, whether it's for your brain injury from a previous accident, what do your doctors tell you? Should you be vaccinated or no? Since you have immunity.
No.
The doctor
She said I
said
don't
that.
need. She said I don't need it.
Exactly.
Wow.
I love it.
You got sky-high numbers, man.
That's why
Is that a
everyone.
St. Charles County, Doc?
That's why everyone needs to test for antibodies, COVID antibodies, before you consider getting
This
a
is
vaccine.
such a big
get to
story.
break.
Why
We gotta
didn't you
go to
bring it
break.
up? Why didn't you bring it up?
We'll
Why did I
get
bring
to
what
it.
up?
We
Your
got to go to break.
test. Your immunity test.
I've talked about it on here before.
She's talked about it.
You're just
She said she has sky-high immunity, and she
as
didn't bring
do
it up.
most people
We'll be right
that have
back.
had COVID.
I have sky-high immunity, too.
I love these guys. They make funny with their mouths.
The Edge Morning Show.
It's like I blinked, and suddenly all my business shifted to e-commerce.
Now, my business hours are whenever my customers need me.
My customers want everything now and faster than ever. It's a whole different world.
Your business is changing. The United States Postal Service is changing with it. We're bringing you fast, reliable shipping nationwide, and we're bringing it right when your customers need it. Let's discover new routes. Visit USPS.com/new routes. The United States Postal Service. Priority, you.
Here's a message for Quiver River Electric members. Vote now in your annual Board of Directors election through August 23rd. Members may vote online, by paper ballot, or at the annual meeting on August 26th. If you vote, you are automatically entered into a drawing for free electricity prizes. Learn more about the voting process, the bylaw proposition on the ballot, and board candidates at quiver.com or call 1-800-392-3709.
Hi, this is Curtis Parks. I am the owner of Complete Auto Body and Repair. Family owned and operated since 1973. We've seen a lot of storms. We know what we're doing. We're here to help. Complete Auto Body and Repair has multiple locations in the St. Louis area that handles hail damage and storm damage. So if you had an issue or have an experience where you had to turn in a claim, please reach out to us. We'll handle all the red tape. We are Complete Auto Body and Repair. We handle everything from start to finish. If it's not perfect, it's not complete. Others can't compete with Complete Auto Body.
Dad, and service.
Oh yeah, and service.
An important part of staying healthy is keeping up with your regular preventative exams like mammograms and colonoscopies. Barnes Jewish St. Peter's Hospital and Progress West Hospital offer convenient locations for you to keep on schedule with your screenings and with extra protocols in place to keep you safe during your visit. Early detection is your best medicine. To schedule an appointment, call 636-928-WELL or visit bjcstcharlescounty.org.
Spectrum Glass is known for their quality work on windshields, but they do so much more. Spectrum Glass also specializes in residential, commercial, and automotive window tinting. Reduce the heat, reduce the fading, and increase your comfort with professional window tinting from Spectrum Glass. Serving St. Charles and surrounding counties since 1995, Spectrum Glass is still your premier company for windshield replacement. And with free mobile service, they come to you. 636-294-1800 on Facebook and SpectrumGlassOnline.com.
Now, back to the Edge Morning Show.
Hey, before we get out of here, Eric, where's Platinum Rock Legends this weekend, or how can people catch up with you guys?
Tonight at the Washington Town and Country Fair.
All right.
Yes.
All right, nice. Eric Johnson. It'd be the bigger. Eric's the biggest guy with the wig. Just remember that. He's the tallest,
That's
biggest
how
guy.
That's how you find me in the crowd?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
I guess
The
it
one
works.
that looks like a girl.
Oh my God! Got to get that
He's
jab
got his
in
little
there, Tabitha.
pirate shirt on and his little
my God.
tasseled pants.
None of that.
We hope everybody has an awesome weekend. Thanks again for joining us, and with a great week. Have a terrific weekend. Who knows? We'll come back with on Monday.
And tomorrow's going to be a big night. If what's true, what Chris just said is true, tomorrow night, Washington Town and Country Fair, ZZ Top is still playing, I guess.
That's right. Far
That's
as I know.
news.
Far as I know.
All right, cool. I might have to go just stay over at night.
ZZ Top with no
beard.
No Dusty Hill.
Dusty Hill.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
How sad.
Everybody have a great
All right.
weekend.
Yeah, hey, we'll see you for Fox 2 News at 5 and 9 tonight. Have an awesome day. Let's go enjoy the weekend.
That's it.
See you Monday.
Good day.